Hi, it's Igor. In my previous video, I built a sofa. That's also the first project I'm gonna try to sell and make profits out of it. Eventually, found out why by clicking here in the corner. Now that we have a sofa, we need a coffee table, but I don't want to build just a coffee table. I want to try to remake an expensive piece of furniture for way cheaper and try to make it look as much as possible as the original. Once again, let's break down the cost of the build. And this time is gonna be easy since it cost me only 200 euros for the plywood. First, I need to cut this big sheet of plywood to the final size of the tabletop. So I decided to make 45 degrees angle cuts on each side of the tabletop. And the inside of my tabletop is almost gonna be hollow, and I did so to minimize the cost. So this is the first side of my tabletop. I now need to do another one for the opposite side. I am now cutting the sides of the tabletop. That's also going to create the thickness of the tabletop. And as you can see, I'm again cutting a 45 degrees angle. So once I join the side and the top, is going to create a perfect 90 degrees angle. Now that I have all the parts I need cut, it's time to assemble the tabletop. So what you see me doing here is flipping the top upside down so that I can add tape on the back. That way it's going to create a much better bond when I start the glue up. And it's time to flip it back for the glue up. Ideally, I will use clamps for this part, but since I only have one big and long clamp, I will instead use duct tape to keep everything together until the glue dries up. At this point, honestly, I didn't even need this clamp, but since I have it, I felt like I have to use it. 2 sides down, 2 more to go. This tool is called my finger, and it's the best tool to spread the glue. And if you ever use your finger as a tool to spread the glue, the best part and the most satisfying part is after, once the glue dries, and you can peel off the dry glue off of your skin. Or maybe it's just me, but if I'm not alone, let me know in the comments. I am now checking and measuring the width of my tabletop so that I can add stretchers down the middle so that I can add support between my bottom and top part. And after using my finger tool, I am now using the scrap wood tool to perfectly spread the glue. And it's now time to add the top part of my tabletop. And obviously, this little guy made a big difference during this part. So while the tabletop is drying up, we can now start to work on the legs. And to do so, I'm gonna be cutting the legs to the right size that I need, and then I'm gonna be stacking up 3 layers to create thicker legs. And since I'm recreating the design of the Zara Home coffee table, I planned so that the thickness of my tabletop will be as thick as 3 layers of plywood stacked together. I might have only one long clamp, but at least I have many of these little clamps. But you know how they say, you never have enough clamps. And in my case, I don't have enough clamps to do all the glue up in one time. That's why this part took me a long time, because I had to wait in between 2 sessions of clamping. This is the moment where I take out my Japanese planner so I can make these lips disappear. But it is also the moment that I secretly and mostly off camera complain about that I don't have the right tool, that it would be much easier, much faster if I had an electrical planner. But like I said, you have to make it work with the tools that you have. You see, I make it work. Let's change to a more comfortable position or station to do the planning. As much as I wish that I had a big electrical planner, it is still satisfying to do this part by hand. And yes, it takes much more time and much more energy to do it, but it's quite satisfying at the end. As I said, time and energy, but satisfying. And it's finally time to assemble the legs and to see how it's gonna fit and how it's gonna look at the end. So for the last few frames, I've been struggling to transfer on the right position the holes that I made to be able to do the same holes on the other side and use this little wood thingy, I don't remember the name, and just use this without screws and wood glue, of course. As I was trying to figure out the right way to do it, I just thought that either way it's gonna be either in contact with the floor or with the contact with the tabletop. It's not gonna be visible. I just might use screws, but for now I need first to close up these holes that I made. Let's change the plan. Now that we have two legs, it's finally time to do a dry fit and see how our coffee table will look like. Now that I'm satisfied with the dry fit, I will disassemble everything and sand it lightly with a 220 grit. Let's pause the video for a second to appreciate my anti-dust technique. But more seriously, as somebody reminded me in my last video, put the dust mask on and protect your lungs. My favorite part, putting finish on the wood and making it look beautiful. I mean, that's only plywood, but usually when it's a nice piece of wood, it makes a big difference. So before the big reveal of my recreation of an expensive piece of furniture for dirt cheap, I have to say, I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I just think that I succeeded at recreating the Zara Home coffee table, but for the purpose of this video I will leave it like this, but as my wife said, I might need to stain it or paint it in another color. And here it is, my take on recreating the Zara Home coffee table. And if you notice, the sofa that I built in my last video is gone, because we finally received our sofa. And as soon as I sell the sofa that I built, I will let you know in one of my next videos, so you might want to subscribe.